It is the most formidable fighting force out there. It is not even fair to compare in any way. Guts' little band, Femto's band already is more powerful than anything out there. There's a band forming in Berserk right now, and it's exciting to see it begin. It is small, it's minuscule, but it's beginning. And I'm relieved by it because if there's anyone who ever needed some help from outsiders, it's our pal Guts. And he has some help now. He's been caught up by Shyster Boy, by Sir Lancelot, and Farnese. They've caught up to him. And he already had Puck, and he had Casca. Now, we have to point out some things here. Casca is a burden to him. A huge burden to him. Why? Because all she does is play with leaves and run away. And when she runs off, it's disastrous for Guts. He has to drop everything to go find her because Casca will meander right back into the bad guy's camp and nothing good ever comes of that because she's still in a catatonic knucklehead stunad state. She is of no use to anyone, but Guts loves her. And that means everything in the book of Berserk, because she is everything to Guts. Now, I mentioned Sir Lancelot has come along, and the barn burner herself, Farnese. And as much as I hate to admit it, they are a great help to him. Because, well, let's start with Farnese. She has been able to take the burden of constantly watching Casca from Guts. And if Guts doesn't have to watch Casca, he can use his sword. And there is no lack of the need of Guts using his sword because that horde of evil demonic beings that come up every single night are still there. You'll recall when we spoke last about this, we pointed out that Guts was absolutely at his wit's end. He is just short of supernatural in his strength, but it was waning severely. There's just so much you can accomplish as a man without getting any sleep. And he was at that edge. But along came Sir Lancelot, who is a heck of a swordsman, in my opinion, and Farnese. Not so much of anything there. Kind of an empty suit. But she is helpful. She is helpful because she's watching Casca. She has her own struggles. And her big struggle is looking at her past life and saying, I have lived a worthless existence. I have done nothing but hurt people. I have done nothing but try to elevate myself, and it hasn't worked. She looks back at her life and says, I've been wasting my life. And as strange as this might sound, the first time she's ever had real purpose is taking care of Casca. And she likes Casca. For all that Casca doesn't say anything, and as I've pointed out, the only thing close to a smile is when she's playing with leaves and throwing them up in the air. So she's not exactly a great companion, but it's something for Farnese to do that is important. And it is important.
And I have to say, it's like the antithesis of what she normally did, which is hurt people.
Yes.
Now she's helping
Yes.
Casca. And if you think back to her and Sir Lancelot, and when she found him on the ground, she did take care of him. Like, she tried to nurse him back to health.
After she kicked him.
Well, she kicked him, but then she tried to nurse him back to health.
Yeah.
And I felt like that gave us like a little glimpse of like what her heart truly desires. Like, she doesn't want to be this, or at least I don't think she wants to be this evil person. I think that she's finding more purpose in being like a caretaker.
And I would say that you see a lot more in her than I do.
That's true.
But that's okay. There's more than one interpretation of Farnese. But I would say that we're both in agreement that she's on a better path now than she has ever been in her life. Mm-hmm. And she was a woman of great authority. Not great ability, but great authority. And now she's a woman of little ability, but with a very important job, keeping Casca alive. I admire her for that. Ooh, did I say that? Yeah, I said it.
Do you think he'll ever come around?
That's as close as I'll ever get to coming around about her.
You sure about that?
You really think?
Yeah. I mean, she's going to have to do something spectacular to win me over because she's done a lot of evil.
Fair.
Yeah.
But so is Guts.
Yeah, but I like Guts.
That's fair.
Yeah.
Case adjourned.
And of the two, if you can excuse someone for the road in life that they have taken, it's much easier to do that with Guts than with her. She took the easiest road possible. I'm talking about Farnese. She took the easiest road possible and made a disaster of it. She made a total disaster of her life by choice. But anyway, she is of great use to Guts right now, and I can appreciate that. Now, Sir Lancelot is another story altogether. In a certain sense, if he wanted to be, he's unburdened of having to take care of Farnese. And that's a good thing, because now his sword is Guts' sword. But for all that we could say about Farnese and her lack of loyalty, Sir Lancelot is very loyal. Sadly, he's loyal to Farnese. And loyal he is. He looks up to her to a degree. He looks out for her to a very great degree. And he feels he is in her debt. That's unfortunate, because he has earned everything back that she ever gave him. Yeah, she put a roof over his head. But he was her personal slave for the most part, even though they shared a father together. But on the other hand, there's an interesting relationship that's developing between Guts and Sir Lancelot. And it's not exactly something on a solid foundation, but it's real. The key really is Lancelot willing to really help. And help he is doing. He is still a very fine swordsman. He's probably as fine a swordsman as Guts ever knew back in the olden days with the Band of the Hawk. Lancelot is that good. He really is. When you consider this little band that is gathering around Guts, there's really only two of them that are warding off the evil spirits that come at night. And that is Lancelot and Guts. But they're two of the best. Guts is the best, and Lancelot is arguably not far behind him. I think Lancelot is better than anything you'd find in the Kushan. I think he's that good. Between the two of them, Guts' burden is way lessened. And I think it might be fair to say that even Farnese can contribute in a small way with, we'll just call it a burning stick that she sometimes wields.
But she also watches Casca.
Yes, that's the important thing that she does. But when the ghouls come at night, she can probably be counted on to swing a fiery stick, at the very least. Now, Puck is another story altogether. Puck is a lot of comic relief. Puck has some great insight. Puck has helped Guts formulate a plan of what to do next, because Guts is taking him to his old hometown, Elfville. That's a place of refuge. We want to think so anyway. And if there's anyone who could use a respite, it's Guts. Guts is responsible for the life of Casca and himself and Shyster Boy and Puck. Not so much for Lancelot and Farnese. And he has made that a declarative statement. You guys watch out for you, and I'll watch out for everyone else, which he does, and he does it more than adequately. But I'm glad that Guts has some friends. He's headed for Elftown. And that's going to give him some real relief. At least I'm optimistic that that's going to happen. But in the meantime, he has to get there. And I don't think he was going to get there had Lancelot not come along especially. Now, had Farnese not come along, and it only had been Lancelot, I think it would have been just as good. But Farnese has her purpose. Now, Snicker, I wanted to call him Snickerdoodle, but Shyster Boy is of great help too. And he wants something out of the deal. And because he's a young boy, he doesn't seem to realize that if he doesn't give his all, he will be quite dead himself. He hasn't figured that out because his mind is fixed on one thing. I want to be a great swordsman like my hero Guts. And Guts is helping him to the degree that he can, but there's only so much Guts can do. After all, nobody trained Guts other than the battlefield itself. And Guts started out as a small kid, just like Shyster Boy, but Guts is a fantastic mentor as far as swordsmanship goes. He is helping Shyster Boy move in that direction, but there's only so much he can do. Shyster Boy's a little kid. He's a much better rock thrower than he is a swordsman, but I look at Shyster Boy and I say to myself, if he lives long enough, he will be formidable because he's being taught by the most formidable there is. And he has latent talents. We know that they're in there. He's got the ability of a hobbit to throw and bean someone on the head with a rock. That's impressive. Hobbits, if they were a little taller, would be in the National Baseball Association. They'd be pitchers. They're that good. So Shyster Boy is of great help too. He's flinging rocks. He's got a sword. He uses it. And provided he sticks really close to Guts, he is of great help. Puck, he has his magic woofy poof dust, and that woofy poof dust is probably helpful.
It comes in handy sometimes.
Yes, it does. And I don't know what those dandelions thing do, but they seem to be potent at times.
I think I heard that they were chestnuts, like spiky chestnuts.
Oh, yes. I think they fall from maple trees, but I'm not certain about that.
Believable.
Yeah. So this, dare we call it a new Band of the Hawk, is something, but let's not exaggerate. It's just a couple of advanced swordsmen, a kid, a woman looking for redemption, an invalid, and come on, Puck. That's it. Now, there's another Band of the Hawk forming, and it's forming around the evil Femto, emphasis on fem. And that Band of the Hawk is the new Band of the White Hawk. And it is the most formidable fighting force out there. It is not even fair to compare in any way Guts' little band with Femto's band. Femto's band already is more powerful than anything out there. And why is that? Because evil Femto is the leader. And he has all the powers, all the negative powers of the evil world behind him, plus some very formidable superhuman creatures, not the least of which is Nosferatu Zod. Zod's already formidable in his normal state, but when he decides to grow, wow, watch out. He can just take out armies. He's like the angel of death that swooped down on Egypt back in the days of Moses. Formidable. Not as formidable as the angel of death, however, who would wipe out the entire I don't even want to go there. It would be a massacre. But that's an angel of the Lord doing that, which has really no place in Berserk. But I digress. Anyway, this Band of the White Hawk has the love of the people. They think of him as a savior. The man on a white horse with a bow and no arrows. Femto doesn't do much other than stand up there and say, do this, do that, do that. But when his army starts to fight, they crush everyone. Everyone. Now.
And under the guise of being like a good...
Oh, the people love them. They think, oh, this is the man that led the Band of the Hawk back in our old Midland days. He was formidable. He won every battle he went out to pursue.
They think of him as like benevolent too.
Yeah, they think he's a good guy. But he's the man on the white horse, and sometimes the man on the white horse isn't a good guy. He's just got a white horse. So, is there going to be trouble between Guts and Femto? You bet there is. Absolutely. Femto wants Guts. You know it. You know he wants Guts back. And Guts hates him. I won't mention the white hot passion with which he hates Femto, but it's, shall we say, hotter than a red dwarf, hotter than a white dwarf. Anyway, so that trouble is brewing, and I have to keep reading to find out what's going to happen, but you just know that D-Day is coming. How is it going to end? I have no idea how it's going to end. I just know that I want Guts to win, and I want Femto to lose, and I want Guts to destroy everybody in that band of the White Hawk. I want them gone. They're evil. And I want you to follow, like, and subscribe. And share with a friend if you would. Oh, and don't forget, we love the comments. As I always say, I don't get to read them, but Crystal does. And we love getting them. So keep those cards and letters coming, and we'll talk to you soon.